Mm-hmm. Right in the mouth of that cut. Chunky little dude. That's what those hooks will do for you right there. We talked about changing your hooks. You know, he ate this one, but this one's gonna get him. He's a good little guy. I like to see him grow up. But I know if I keep this bait in my hand, eventually I am gonna catch old big. Hey guys, Keith Combs here. We're gonna talk about a unique bait. Definitely a unique bait. You know, Strike King Hybrid Hunter. Been on the scene for a while, and definitely been around my part of the world for a long time. There was another company that made a very similar bait, and it just never really caught on. But you know, since Strike King's been producing the Hybrid Hunter, it's been a mainstream technique. So we're going to talk about some of the specifics of the bait and certain circumstances that I've been successful throwing the bait, and certain circumstances where I just don't think it's the best thing for you. But really, to me, where it excels is around submerged vegetation. And the reason for that is there's very few crankbaits on the market that you can fish at a decent pace and keep them above the vegetation. So I don't know that it's necessarily the shape or anything like of the Hybrid Hunter. I know a lot of people say, well, it just comes through grass really good. To me, it just stays high in the water column, so it rides over a lot of grass, and it does a very good job of that. It also has a very unique action, you know, something totally different than your square bill crankbaits and things like that, or your lipless crankbaits. It almost has a rolling action. So when it's tuned right, you can reel it as fast as you can. It'll stay down. This is the big one. It'll stay down to about 24 inches to maybe 3 foot max. Whereas like if you take a 1.5 or a Strike King 2.5 crankbait, very similar in shape to this, those baits are going to want to dig 5 to 7 foot. So it's just a good alternative to fish something very high in the water column. To me, it excels. I know you can catch fish on it all times of the year, but really in the pre-spawn and also in the shad spawn, that's when I really like to throw these baits. Again, in the shad spawn, you know, those fish will move up on shallow riprap or something and they get extremely shallow. Whereas in the past, you had to throw a topwater, or you had to throw, you know, a swim jig, a vibrating jig, or something like that. It was hard to keep a square bill in them. The Hybrid Hunter lets you do that because, like I said, you can fish it extremely shallow. And when I say, you know, it dives to 3 foot, that will be reeling it fast, say 15-pound line, and holding your rod tip down. This bait is really influenced easy by holding your rod tip up. So keep that in mind, you know, especially if you can see the vegetation, you come around some higher stuff, just raise your rod tip up. You can influence this bait by probably about 12 to 10 inches just by doing that. So I've laid out some of the ones that I catch them on. As far as colors go, we got a full line of colors. I didn't include a red one, but I've done really well fishing around East Texas with a crawfish pattern in the pre-spawn. But these are some of the models. You know, we have the big one. This is kind of the original Hybrid Hunter. It's a strange color, but you know, it just catches them. And I've caught them in clear water and stained water. This is one I would never leave home without. And we also have, you know, the smaller versions. Personally, just from my experience, I thought this would probably be more in my arsenal than the big ones, but I've done really well on the big ones. But all new for this year, we actually have the shallow diver, which is, it has a little different action, probably a little bit more roll than the original ones, but from what I'm seeing, and I haven't thrown it a tremendous amount yet, but it's going to stay up there in that top 18 inches of the water column.